So as per every single lecture that I ever give, we are going to start off with very, very normal openings, because very rarely do I actually go over unorthodox play, as I'm sure everybody knows by now. So, alright, we see... Oh, and we're going over potentially 2 games today, hopefully. But alright, normal opening. We see white back off, allowing black to establish a micro-Chinese Fuseki, which shouldn't surprise anyone now because Chinese is all the rage. And it will be until all of us are dead. At least that's the way it seems to be going. So just accept it. And study it, because you're going to be seeing it. White approaches on the inside. Rather than the outside, we do the outside, then it says that we're interested in getting into a framework versus framework game, and that is not what we're interested in. So, okay. Black decides to pincer. And by pincering and not backing off, he is saying that he is going to go all in on the development of his framework. Okay, he's really, really, really set on doing that. But now we have Aji left behind, so we're a little bit happier about this. White changes directions, and so far all is normal. Black attaches, and typically we would expect to see the 3-3 here. Very, very normal. Instead, we're actually seeing white be a little bit confrontational. He's not going to go into the Joseki where we see black just get a wall, white just living in, and then doing something with, against the top stone at 017. Not getting into this rather more peaceful variation. Apparently, white is looking to pick a fight. And for those of you who do not know, Park Jung-won is actually a very, very aggressive player. I mean, the fact that he's Korean probably should have clued you into that. But if it didn't, he is an aggressive Korean player, and he's crazy strong. So let's see what kind of fight we're going to see from this situation. Well, black extends out. Okay. And then still not the 3-3. We could make this simple. If we were looking to make this simple right now, we could hit the 3-3. Instead, black and white attaches. Because if we do the 3-3, then we're offering this kind of deal, right? Where we can kind of go back into this Joseki here. I mean, this could be a thing. Why black Q14, not 016? Okay, what was Q14? That is Q14. What's 016? 016 is here. Ah, super, super aggressive. A couple of things you could do with this. When you play this way, you are obviously saying that you're trying to get the most out of your position. You're trying to build up everything on the right side of the board right off into the center. What you leave behind, though, is a lot of Aji. Even if we see something very, very simple here, for example. We see a stone that's horribly left behind, right? And we're going to have to wonder what to do about that. Even if white simply plays this way, we kind of have to go back and kill off that one stone, don't we? So we're giving Sensei for white to keep coming back and reducing us, which, you know, he could do. The stone's not entirely dead. Another thing, we can also be a little bit more aggressive in that variation. Similar, we still have to go off and kill this. And you can even go, as Robert has mentioned, after the Hane, you can go in 3-3 as well. And then you are left with an even bigger question. It's like, well, are we still going all in? Because if we're still going all in, you know, white's going to take our corner and get out. And we're still going to have to do something about that stone. So there's just so many options here. That this is usually easier and provides a better outcome for everybody involved. But alright, we're actually fighting here. Okay. White comes out. We see kind of a similar idea to Peacock. Black's trying to get the most he can off the top of the board. The result of which, as we're seeing again, is there's a lot of Aji remaining. So white does something very, very aggressive and decides to cut through. And thus the aggression in this game begins. He creates a cut point, and then oddly enough changes his mind. I guess trying to get Sensei out of white here, which is pretty good. I can see what he's doing. Or Sensei out of black here. He figures, I've just hurt your stone, you must respond to it. If you don't, then the cut is available. Okay. We can see white trying to do two things at once against a rather aggressive fighter. Sure, makes sense. Didn't mean to click that. There we go. Can't cut. He is forcing black to fix with worse shape. Oh, are you saying that white can't cut here? Is that what we're saying? Oh, yeah. What he's doing is he's creating the cut point. And that way, 1 and 2 are problematic. Black now has things he must worry about. Which one is he going to defend? The cut point or the stone at 2? Black decides to defend the stone at 2. Which obviously means we had Miai, so we're going to go ahead and cut. So how do we respond to this? Anyone have any idea besides crying and resigning? Because we played super aggressively, now it's time to back up what we decided to do. We got into a fight. A fight is what we have. Robert wishes to resign. That is not true. He would fight to the bitter end. I know what kind of player Robert is. Anyone have any idea how we settle this position? N18. That's an interesting move. That does certainly look Tsuji-ish. That's one that I didn't expect to have to read out, actually. Okay, so the idea here is white drops down, black comes up, and then the Hane turns into an Atari. Okay, that looks interesting. But if white takes M17, you're forced to connect back. Yeah, I'm not really sure about that one. I mean, black plays here. If we played here, this seems like it's going to end very, very well. I think. White can just block at 018? Really? Because of the 014 cut. Oh, yeah. That's true. That's a good point. We can still get out, can't we? Okay. That looks possible too, yeah. So we have two very, very bad variations for black. So instead, black plays a simple defensive move without trying to strengthen his opponent. Okay, that makes sense. White decides to come out. Threaten capture. Force black to defend himself. And now white is completely out, which is good for him. Black has influence he would love to use, but since white is completely out, white says that that's not going to occur. Not going to take all of that in territory, most unfortunately, so says white. Black says, and I'll connect up. And I love the simplicity of that move. This one is one of the nice moves that I saw in this game. Because, I mean, a lot of players would be looking at all of this and think to themselves, no, I'm going to attack. Bareback. Phone. Alright, sorry about that. Oh yeah, so a lot of people would try to completely kill this group. Absolutely, absolutely. Not thinking for a minute, are we fine to do that, or is our corner going to be in trouble? And such... Wait a minute, did I just kill it? No, I didn't. Haha, I did not kill the tree. And such things as, even if we live in the corner, do we really have time to attack when we ourselves are not connected and have no shape and are not alive and horrible things of that nature? No, he just says, I'm going to kill this. My stones are connected and strong now. And if all of this is strong, then your stone is still too close to me. So what are you going to do about that, Mr. White? Well, Mr. White says, I would like to defend my stone, but I have a bunch of influence over here. And I would like to use this influence before it turns sad. So he decides to attack, to use his influence to gain something, rather than to worry about the one stone. So alright, we're not going to worry about the one stone. We're going to worry about the group. It is the group that matters. So, Black says I'm not going to remove all of this. It is not going to simply quietly die against your influence. I'm going to fight this. And now, slowly but surely, an interesting game is developing. Can you see why it's interesting? Is you're reading up to par to realize, on a very basic level, why this game is getting interesting? Because it should be. It should. I have faith in all of you people who are here that you can see this. Robert T. is saying nothing is alive. Not entirely true. We see very, very easily that black stones are alive, and that's the wrong tool to mark that with, but you get the idea. On the other hand, it is white that is not alive here, it is white that is not alive here, and it is white that is not alive there. Now, it's true that these stones are in trouble as well, but when we have 3 things to worry about for white, and only 1 thing to worry about for black, then, fundamentally speaking, if black gets nothing from all of this, and you can use this in your own games as well, if you have a situation in your games, you've got 3 things that are just super weak, and you don't wind up getting anything from it, look at that area again, because you obviously had to have screwed up an attack somewhere. 3 groups should not be able to just all live with no problems. Shouldn't happen. So alright, what's white gonna do? White says my 2 is in danger, I'm gonna jump. Okay, puts pressure on black's group that is in trouble, so he gets out of there too. Thus putting the question back at white. You've got 3 things not completely live yet, what are you going to do? White says, well, I don't want to be surrounded, so I'm going to escape. And slowly we see the problem here, because as he's maneuvering against all of this stuff, it's just hurting him all over the place, right? I mean, even if black just keeps following white around the board and responds to this move right now, which he's going to, it's just going to make him stronger on top for when he attacks that top part of the board, the L17 stone. So, okay. Black plays a Hane, because even if white cuts, who cares? He can take a fight up there. White says, I connect. Okay. He connects his cutting point, or protects his cutting point, sorry. Make sure that no shenanigans are going to happen there. Before taking Black Eye's offer and cutting him. Black simply gets shape because all of his groups are fine. White's the one looking to do something, so let's not leave Aji behind. Let's play nice and strong and not leave him the option of doing anything horrible to us. Very, very basic idea. White plays the Atari. Is this stone important? Well, we can see it's a cutting stone. We can see that if we let this stone go, this group is completely alive, and it greatly strengthens White's ability to either defend or reduce Black's top. So yeah, we don't want this to die, and it gives a lot of influence over here if it dies. So no, not letting that go. Never, 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 never. Cut point left behind. What is White gonna do? White's going to extend. Well, let's see what this has. We have very, very strong shapes here. We have a cutting point. So these two stones are the only ones in trouble at the moment, and they can't be captured. We have very, very strong shape in the area, so we know this isn't like a 2-week group kind of deal, ever. Never going to occur. We only have our 1 week group, and we can deal with that. So go ahead and cut, and force White to try and live. White says, ha ha, you are trying to force me to live, but I am going to ladder you. But there's nothing else being threatened, right? We just verified that last turn. That we've got really, really good strong shape here. We're all nicely alive. Don't have to respond. So since we know we're in trouble with our cutting stones, just going to extend. And so far, everything is going well. We can completely understand Black's thought process. Not really sure what White's going for, but that doesn't matter. We're trying to look at this game from Black's perspective. Because all too often, we do get ourselves into these kind of situations. And I don't know how many times I've reviewed my students' games where they've had a bunch of weak groups and they just had no idea what to do. And I'm sure some of you are like that as well. So, alright. White defends himself, or connects himself up, rather. Manages to enclose this corner of Black's, but like I mentioned, we're going to be doing pretty well over here if we're careful. If we're careful. Now that we're completely surrounded, we have to go back and think. It's like, well, I can kind of picture this move forcing a take, and if we take that, then this is not an eye, this is going to turn false, and that can be poked out, and this can be made sure that's nothing. So, okay, I need to defend. But how to defend? How should we defend this? What do you think, peoples? What do you think we ought to do? How do we defend this area? And by this area, I mean the one I'm completely enclosing now. This little area for Black, what do we do? Fishy. Thank you very much, Fishy. Thank you very much, Steve. These are the exact answers I was looking for. Because it seems so obvious. Kill the stones. Let's get more territory. But as Robert T has shown right now, that he is a Dawn level player. It's like, yes, we could take off those delicious stones and increase our territory immediately, or we can live and undercut a group that is already enclosed. Both ways we live, but one way actually hurts someone. So this is a lot better move than making sure that we can just, take one extra stone. So Fishy Steve and Caleb, thank you very much for that. That's the exact answer I was looking for. So yeah, though we don't get to capture a stone, this is a lot more severe when we get to live. Now White has to do the painful thing of enlarging his eye space. Black's gonna do the very, very happy thing of responding to him, because he's hurting the 2 stones on the other side of the board. These 2 stones are in so much trouble now. So when White connects, Black gets aggressive. He can see very easily his potential here. I mean, all of this is just acting on about a fourth of the board right now. Between the framework and this crazy wall that he's got set up, so much is under attack right now. And it all comes back down to the fact that there were 3 things that White wanted to do, and you just couldn't do them all. Not in this game. So alright. White says, I'm going to... Okay, this one's actually kind of hard to see. He's not just responding to this. He's also responding to the fact that there's this which isn't defended yet, and this which can be cut through. Black connects. Now we're not going to get cut through. Pokey poke. Threaten to capture. Make sure we're nice and alive. Unfortunately, despite all those forcing moves, White is still fine. Or Black is still fine, right? I mean, this isn't having a problem. Even if we save this next turn with 0-18, we can easily live there as Black. In many different ways, actually, now I think about it. I mean, if he saves it this way, we can even play here, right? And threaten to capture? Maybe not, huh? Might actually have to respond to that after that one. Anyway, for 1 turn, we're fine. So, White is now under attack again, because Black has something to defend himself. And here's an interesting solution by White. You know what? Let's see what I can get out of these stones. And we can see why he's doing it. If he just keeps trying to make each group stronger as it's turning weak, he's never going to get anything. Because all Black's going to do is Black's going to make himself stronger again, probably, and then go after the middle. Or make himself stronger, and then go after the top. So White says, I'm going to make myself stronger first. Cool idea, cool idea. Make self stronger. Make self stronger. Make self stronger. And then White seeks to profit. Okay. You can see what's going on here. You don't really want to be completely surrounded. That would be bad. So Black turns. Alright. He got himself a little bit of territory in Sente there. Well, he got a response out of his opponent anyway. I mean, he is still in trouble in the middle. He's not settled here by any means. But he does seek to settle himself now. So alright. Once again, all black does is count the weak groups. It's like, well, what do we have? We have a group here that would really, really like to connect, and a group here that would really like to not die. So if I can count to 2, I know keeping these separated is invaluable. And so he does. Very, very simple. 2 weak groups, I'm going to keep them separated. White has to respond, because he's not alive locally. But he's pushing black into surrounding his middle group, so he has to respond there too. He just has to do entirely too much. This is the kind of game you never want to play as white. Ever. I mean, it could be fun, but overall, it's not a good practice to be in. Black turns, because again, all he's trying to do is keep things separated. I mean, there are 2 things not alive here. Let's just separate things. White says, okay, I get it. I can separate things too. So I'm going to cut you. See, I can count to 2 as well. And black has to point out that yes, you can count to 2 as well. Bye-bye tree. Sorry, that was a miss. So yes, he is now cut apart. That is officially a problem. Black's cutting stones are all but dead now. And he also has to live here in the center. So good counterattack. Good counterattack. But it's fairly easy to live here. So not going to be very severe for very long. And the reason why we know we can live here is 1, we're now nicely undercut, so we can do the jump. And another reason is because we can make pretty easy shape here. So many forcing moves for shape. So this is not going to die. It needs many more moves. So okay. White says, get out of the corner. We see black using that Aji. I did break the tree. I'm sorry. It happens occasionally. Trying to disrupt eye shape. Trying to regain it. And this is going to get very, very aggressive, as both players are fighting to make the most out of their position. And sadly, that usually means one person's not going to get their way. In this instance, we can see that it's going to be we don't know who. Let us find out. Black pokes. White plays the Atari, reducing black to only 2 liberties before connecting on up. Makes himself some shape, threatens a connection, and a cut. We can't just extend, because we're going to be in trouble. So we defend. Again with the threat to connect. Not going to happen, says black. Yes, it will, says white. It's like, but I can Atari you here. That you can. But then we can go and I can play here. Oh dear. This is a problem. Who's going to win this? Well, clearly, we can't let H16 be taken. So we're going to connect there. White's going to take, and we're going to Atari. We now have some eye shape for this group. And a potential ko here, which white says no ko. And we can see why, too, because black has to go back and live. I mean, who cares if black turns around with the next move, for example, and tries to kill this group? Even if he succeeds, well, he can't really succeed, because he's going to have, I mean, there's forcing moves here, there's forcing moves here and here. There's like so many forcing moves. How can he possibly do that? Especially with their, they still not being alive. Anyway, black goes back and says, I'm gonna live. White goes back and says, I'm gonna kill you. Now this is probably the most confusing thing of everything. White says, I'm going to ignore you now. Confusing in that most of us would want to respond locally until it was unquestionable that White was alive. But is it? What do you think? Is White or is Black alive here, or is this still up for debate? Can we see a way to kill, or are we completely alive here? Is this shape alive? Not alive? Almost alive? Okay, yeah. Totally lives. We can poke at it. But we've got eyes at 1 and 2. We can't really take them out. Can't really take both of them out. So this is alive. Okay. So why not respond to the 2 stones then, right? Well, it's fairly simple. We could respond to those 2 stones. Getting rid of these. Thank you. We could respond, but then what? Black's just gonna drive us over to here so we can attack the middle again? We don't want to do that. That'd be bad. That'd be really, really bad. So, okay, forget that. We're not going to do this again. Instead, we're going to go back and worry about the middle group, because the middle group is in trouble. So White plays the Hane. He's going to go back and see if there's anything here to live with. Okay. He says you can have the eye. I'm going to seal you in. A very, very awesome response. I absolutely love that for Black. It's like, I'm not going to try and kill you there. What I am going to do is I'm going to completely seal you in, because getting territory on the 6th and 7th lines, I heard, is kind of good. That, and we don't have to be greedy, do we? Are we in a game right now where it's all or nothing? Absolutely not. We know this because White has territory there, and that's it. So we don't even have to go try and entertain the notion that we can attack and kill everything. So alright. White goes to live. Black says, congratulations. He also says, I'm going to kill you. That is not a nice thing to say. Not sure how many of you actually noticed how much Aji is there. But yeah, once you see the cut, you can instantly read, oh, this can't be a ladder. Because that leads into an Atari, right? We can't Atari to the left. So we push up, I guess. But now where? Oh, shoot. That one's my fault. But now where? We can't Atari up at C18. So we have to play this. But that lets Black get in an Atari. And an Atari. And at this point, we're in serious trouble. Because we can throw in, but this happy thing is a ko for the entire top side of the board. And what really, really makes this insane is it doesn't really matter too much because the bottom is still huge and there's so much Aji in the middle of the board. I mean, the level of which white is behind right now is staggering. That none of what black is playing here actually matters very much because there's still so much Aji left. He's making territory everywhere, he can keep attacking everywhere. It really doesn't matter. So, white takes, has to win the ko, but there's a veritable factory on the board. Are you going to keep responding locally here? Okay, then what about the center? Are you going to respond locally there as well? Impossible, there's way too many ko threats. This is like I'm playing white. It's like, well, there's a ko I'm not going to win, I'm used to that. But if you can't win it, then it's game over. So white resigns. I have to say, one of the most one-sided games I've seen in a while. And it's all because white tried to do a lot of things at once really early in the game. But black played nice and calm, got his shape, and so it wasn't a problem. He didn't make himself weaker while he was responding to his opponent. He did things many of us would have thought as small, like, I'm just going to take this stone off the board. Connect on up, therefore you still have your weak groups. No, the tree didn't live, I'm sorry, the tree died. And he did other things, like, I'm just going to make my group here strong. I'm going to get shape when I'm cut. Very, very basic things, but they were very strong because there were 3 weak groups on the board. So black didn't have to do anything risky. White was doing the things that were risky. And black just had to stay strong and prove that that wasn't going to pay